Since the beginning of colonialism, a process has started and it has led to a significant mixing of languages, cultures, traditions, and people. Just think of how many nations nowadays, outside the United Kingdom, have English as their official language, or in how many African countries French is the mother tongue, to name two of the most widely spoken. Then, over the centuries, globalization has emerged, thanks to which human beings have been able to evolve. The advent of modern technologies and the advancement of mass media have made the world increasingly interconnected, breaking down all geographical distances. This has led to a series of significant changes in communication and relationships between people, opening up new opportunities but also raising challenges and conflicts. The biggest obstacle that has to be faced is having to deal with and relate to a different culture, so it is necessary to be culturally intelligent. How many times have we felt embarrassed with a stranger even to introduce ourselves? Or how many times have we been startled by the way they dress, what they eat, or their behavior? Diversity often frightens and puts people at odds, but we must be able to overcome cultural prejudices and stereotypes that are often unconscious and automatic. Cultural intelligence is the ability to manage, adapt, and show flexibility in contexts characterized by cultural diversity. It is the set of knowledge and abilities needed to recognize, understand, and accommodate diversity. It develops and improves through the experiences each of us has in the course of our lives. There is no real universal definition of intelligence. That's why we will try to explain what it is in this way. Generally, Einstein wanted to tell us that our brain is a plastic organ that can develop and improve how we see things if stimulated. Perhaps scholars such as Howard Gardner and Daniel Goleman, forerunners of the theory of multiple intelligences and emotional intelligence, were inspired by this statement. Gardner affirms that within the mind of a single individual there are 9 types of intelligence: intrapersonal, visual spatial, naturalistic, musical, logical mathematical, philosophical existential, interpersonal, bodily kinesthetic, and linguistic verbal. Goldman asserts the existence of another type of intelligence, the emotional intelligence, which requires a good level of empathy, self-awareness, self-management, interpersonal skills, and motivation. Culture is a very complex topic to analyze. That is why in the 1970s the iceberg theory was formulated to try to define the various elements that can form and influence a culture. Art, traditions, customs, rituals, manners, food, religion, institutions, and the way of dressing. These are just the superficial aspects of the iceberg, the ones we all see, know, and can perceive. Beliefs, ideals, norms, roles, concepts, myths, values, desires, assumptions, attitudes, and tastes. These are well-defined ideas that become tangible only through people's behavior, the words they use, and the way they communicate. Demographics, climate, technology, geography, the media, and the economics. These are the external agents that influence culture and cannot be regulated and managed. But the key element of a culture definitely concerns values, which includes different dimensions of the human sphere, such as the propensity for individualism or collectivism, the favorite type of communication, direct or indirect, etc. This analysis inevitably leads to a classification of cultural groups according to geographical areas. For example, an individual from a small town in southern Italy and a fellow citizen will have much in common both in terms of culture and values. However, be careful, as the countries are not the groups. They are only places where you are more likely to find a significant presence of certain cultural groups. Connecting two cultures is a difficult task that requires a high level of preparation and cultural intelligence. The people who make most use of it are interpreters, translators, and linguistic mediators. The roots of mediation go back to very ancient times. As early as Roman times, there were people who worked as interpreters or translators to facilitate communication between populations. Later, during the Middle Ages and the Renaissance, this practice spread to courts and cultural centers, thanks to the amanuenses, who translated orally and transcribed entire texts into different languages. Then, in the contemporary age, linguistic mediators have played a key role during the period marked by the two world wars, both in the purely wartime field and in the post-war period, up to the present day, with employment within various international organizations, such as the European Union and the United Nations. The translator has a written document as a reference point and needs to know at least two languages, that of the prototext and that of the metatext. The interpreter orally translates messages through various techniques such as simultaneous, chuchotage, and consecutive interpreting. The linguistic mediator combines the two professions, taking into consideration all cultural and social components related to language.